How goes your hunt? Do not forget the League's mission, to cooperate with Confederates. Find
So, as far as I know, this is like the last NPC in the world, besides the grandma in Odin Chapel, who hated me at first, but now she's sweet to me and gives me drugs anytime I ask for them, so she's kind of my homie. And then the doll, which I'm not going to kill. But this dude is going to have to go. One, just because I got to know just how big of a boy he is, and then two, I need to know if he drops anything, so I'm freaking pumped. I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day, so let's do this.
Well, how quaint. You stop at the League.
What do you have?
You are yourself a beast. A defiled mess.
A saw on a stick. Okay, that's pretty cool actually.
When you
I
are
like
dead,
that.
your rank blood will curdle with vermin.
Pretty sneaky with it. Delayed strong attacks. Not that sneaky though.
Glory to
Anything?
Confederates.
Hey dude, I might be Southern, but I don't affiliate with Confederates. Even though now that I think about it, my coat kinda looks like a Southern. What the Who are you? Another Confederate, I assume? I don't think I've seen this dude or a dude like this. Spin to win, huh, bro? Your weapon's not quite as cool as the last guy. Do that again, though. Was that a snake? I wanted him to do whatever he did again. Madara's whistle. Let's see. I got a helmet from that one dude, I think. Yes. 9 helm resembling an upside down bucket. A single hull allows one to peek out with a single eye, which is probably all that its original owner had. Okay. Cool. And what was that? Whistle? Something whistle. Oh. Summon a giant serpent from the nightmare. Madara's twins, denizens of the Forbidden Woods. So it is a like a arcane tool. A blood tinge. No, it's a blood tinge tool. That's the first one I've seen of those. It's like an ability that scales off blood tinge. Requires 18. Okay. New item added to my theory crafted blood tinge run. Our early trip to Canehurst and getting this thing. That seems, I don't know how good it is, but that's if it calls a snake up out of the ground, that was freaking awesome. Okay. Every time I like decide I'm gonna do some little thing, it always ends up being more interesting. Like almost every time in this game. Okay, I haven't actually been drinking green tea. That was a Hot Rod reference, but I am freaking pumped. I got some updates though after a lot of thinking and getting a few people's input. Both a couple of my best friends that are my Bloodborne advisors and some of you guys that have been following along. I have decided that I'm gonna wait to do the DLC in New Game Plus. Mainly because I'm about to go out of town. My wife and I are having our 5-year anniversary. We're going on the first vacation we've been on since our honeymoon, just us two, out to Zion National Park, Sedona, Arizona, and then Zion in Utah. I got a lot of hiking and stuff planned. I'm excited about that, but I didn't want to at all rush the DLC. And I also didn't want to leave for a week while I was in the middle of it. So we're going to go through the gate tonight. I assume that's the end of the game. I assume it's going to be like the point of no return, just because several of you have said, like, make sure you do the DLC before you go through the gate. So I'm just going to end the game, or I assume I will. I'm going to do whatever. Oh, I figured this out too. Watch this. I assume most of you know that, but I think it seems like she only bows to most of the other emotes, but this one she applauds, she approves. So yeah, I'm gonna save the DLC for New Game Plus. It may be really tough. It may be more tough than I can handle, but I'm not very good. But I am determined, so I think I'll get through it, even if it ends up being intolerable to watch because of how much I struggle. I do think that I'll eventually get through it. With that being said, now I did do everything that I wanted to do in this, which really wasn't much. I ran through basically the entire game. Did my full, like, I checked all the boss rooms. I ran around and checked for other NPCs that either I maybe missed or had forgotten about. I really didn't find much. But while I was doing that, I farmed up some echoes. I bought the armors I wanted. I rounded out my build the way I wanted it. So I'm fully prepared for New Game Plus now. And that's where my sights are, on finishing up, seeing what's behind this gate, and then getting to the point in New Game Plus where I can go into the DLC. We'll pick that back up once I'm back in town. So I'm stoked about it. Oh, before I forget, several of you guys have let me know that these are not for anything except consumption, these umbilical cords. I noticed that this one says, this cord granted Mensis audience with Murgo, but resulted in the stillbirth of their brains. Doesn't mean much to me. I thought these might have something to do with the DLC. I was planning on taking them into the DLC and seeing, to see if anyone wanted them or if I could do something with them there. I've had a couple different people tell me, just consume them, so I'm gonna do that now. couldn't make out. I think there was it was saying something when I would consume one, but I couldn't make out what it was. I guess I was expecting something to happen, honestly. I don't know. I don't know what that did. But you guys made it pretty clear that that's what I needed to do. So I don't know what else to do, but head this way. Honestly, I feel some type of way walking away from my burning home for what I assume will be the last time in this first playthrough. I have bittersweet feelings. I'm excited to see what's ahead. I've been thinking, and I wanted to like come back with a report on my thoughts about kind of the happenings leading up to the Nightmare of Mensis and Murgo's Loft and all that. And I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know. I expected more, I guess, to be revealed at the time, like when I killed Murgo's wet nurse. I just kind of was left with this, like, I felt like I had been chasing this nightmare newborn, silence that thing, been chasing the baby's cries, and then I was just kind of left with this feeling of, like, what the hell just happened when I finally got through the Nightmare of Mensis. So, and I refuse to look up anything until I'm completely finished with both this and the DLC. I refuse to look at videos. I'm very excited. I basically, at this point, I've just given up on trying to figure it out, and I'm just going to finish out the game, do the DLC, and then I'll go deep into lore videos and just finding out all the information I can. So she told me that, like, Gehrman will be waiting for me down here. But as far as what's going to happen or how this is going to end, I have no thoughts, no ideas. At this point, I'm just kind of like nothing. I don't think anything. Nothing's going to surprise me, but this game keeps surprising me. So again, I'm kind of procrastinating. It's kind of bittersweet. I don't really want to end it, but well, yeah, let's do it. This is very reminiscent of the end of Sekiro. Ishin. It's very reminiscent of the Ishin arena.
Good hunter, you've done well. The night is near its end. Now, I will show you mercy. You will die, forget the dream, and awake under the morning sun. You will be freed from this terrible hunter's dream.
Hold up, what now? I think he said that he was gonna kill me and that I would wake up from the dream. I'm gonna say no.
Dear, oh dear. What was it? The hunt? The blood? Or the horrible dream? Oh, it doesn't matter. It always comes down to the hunter's helper to clean up after these sorts of messes.
This dude?
Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt.
The first hunter. I knew this guy was a dirty old pervert. Variable. I like it. I like it. Backing up after I go to parry. Yeah, I kinda had a feeling that was about to happen. Whoa, I got lucky. Okay, you got a lot faster. One bullet left. How did I chew through those so fast? About time for a phase 2. Hold up. Moon presence. Moon presence. I know that. I don't know if I want to be this dumb or not, but I really want to look at my notes. Moon presence. I think I have a note about moon presence from the lecture hall. Something about Lawrence, who I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on still. What the? For a second I thought that, I was thinking he was trying to do something to not fight me. Did that just take all my health again? I think I'm messing up. Wait, why can't I heal? Okay, there we go. My heart's racing so fast.
Are you cold?
Mostly just from confusion.
Oh, good hunter.
I wonder how many dirty jokes have been made about that cutscene. Childhood. Oh, holy crap. That's it. Taking in this this outro music. This game leaves me kind of speechless with my,
Good. All signed and sealed.
Oh, here we go again.
Now, let's begin the transfusion. Oh, don't you worry. Whatever happens, you may think it all
So I'm,
a bad dream.
having a hard time, saying anything intelligent, but I'll just tell you, I'm sitting with both my hands on top of my head, and my eyes have been wide since it went to the cutscene after the second fight. Okay. Let's I want to get somewhere better and gather my thoughts. This will do. This will do right here. The first shot of the sky. Yeah. Okay. All right. The fact that I feel like I'm probably like higher level than would be It's hard. It's hard when you're like in the moment, and I'm like, my entire focus is on killing the boss. To really take everything in. I think that I probably am overpowered or over leveled. And so I think that my decision to wait for New Game Plus for the DLC is a good one. Was a good one, and is going to be a good one. Both of those fights were really cool. Gehrman was a surprise for me. Don't know why I didn't think about him being an enemy, but I was expecting to go talk to him, and then like something crazy happened, more like the second fight. I was kind of expecting that, but I didn't even really process like how his phases went, but I know that last phase when he had like the scythe and he was like dashing like long distances to come at me, that got really intense. I loved that part of it. I think the whole fight was cool, but I want to just do it all again right now. I want to turn around and like fight that fight again now, and pay attention better. Then the second thing, the moon presence. There was a point the first time he did the I don't know, the attack where he like trained all my health. He was like, I guess he put maybe there were moons, but he put some kind of orbs in the sky, and then all my health trained. For a split second, I thought maybe there's a way that I can like not fight this thing, and I swear I came very close to pulling up my emote menu and trying to do the make contact emote in the middle of the fight, thinking maybe there's another way I can like resolve this without fighting him. So, and then from that point on, that was kind of in my head, like, is there because of the cutscene and like how I thought he was gonna come down and talk to me. I was half expecting that thing to like float down and like tell me everything that was going on, and like I shouldn't have. I mean, that's not very FromSoft, but I thought that thing was about to just like talk to me. But yeah, like halfway through the fight, I was like, maybe he just wants to be friends, and I should do the contact emote. No joke. But then my health, then I watched my health like completely go to zero without killing me, and then I was just confused, and the rest of the fight was just me trying to get a grasp back on what the heck I was doing. So I think the only reason that I survived that is just the fact that I did decide I was going to go into New Game Plus for the DLC and throw some more levels into health and stuff. So very cool though, very cool arena. I just overall, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to do it all again. I'm of the opinion that once through a FromSoft game is not enough to give an adequate review on it. There's just the game design in these games is just too much of a tangled web of brilliance to get a full grasp on it in one playthrough. So I think ending it confused and kind of overwhelmed and with my hands on top of my head is about as good as it could get, because it takes some effort and some like digging deep in a FromSoft game before all the pieces click together. So I think that I'm going to take a little more time to like, I think I do want to just spitball like some of my thoughts about the game. But if you're sick of hearing me talk, TLDR version is the game was absolutely amazing. I can't say now, but I anticipate that once I put some more time into it, it will be my favorite game ever. Maybe tied with like DS1. But I don't even really like feel the need to compare them, other than they're made by the same developer. I think this is going to be my favorite game, and Dark Souls 1 will also be my favorite game for different reasons. This was one of my favorite experiences playing through a game for the first time that I've ever had. And the way in which I played through it, I'll say first, I've never done this before. So this was the most blind I've ever played a FromSoft game. It was the first time that I've ever attempted to record my playthrough. So that added like a different element to it that I wasn't really used to. It was the first time that I've ever tried to kind of pay attention to all the aspects of a FromSoft game. So normally, like, I started with Dark Souls 3. When I played Dark Souls 3, I did not have enough mental capacity to worry about the item descriptions and the things that the NPCs were saying. All my efforts were spent in, like, how do I get stronger? How do I not die at every turn, right? I didn't have the capability, or even, I guess, the thought never occurred to me to try to like piece together lore, or that I needed to like pay attention to item descriptions. And so I was, that game's a little more linear, I feel like, than most, but I got really lost at times. I had no idea what it was telling me at times, and I for sure didn't figure out some of the bigger secrets in the game because I didn't put in the time to pay attention. I was in full survival mode. It was an awesome experience. But then immediately after that, I went to DS1. I played it much more blind, but I still looked stuff up now and then. I still got anxiety about like certain decisions or feeling like I missed something, and so I would, every once in a while, I would look stuff up as I was going through on that one. And then I think I played 2 after that, and I played 2, probably half of 2, DS2, pretty much completely blind, and then I got to a point where I was kind of lost and overwhelmed and whatever, and I started looking stuff on that. And then I feel like on 2, when I started looking stuff up, I never really quit. It was like that game almost was more enjoyable with a guide for me. And then Sekiro I played almost completely blind, but I did not pay attention to the lore and the story and the item descriptions and things like that as much. So this is the first time that I've ever tried to really put effort into, like, I'm going to comb through the game from beginning to end. I'm going to do my best to not miss anything, but if I do, that's fine. And I feel like I feel pretty proud of the if you can feel proud of playing a video game, I feel pretty proud of how I did it and the effort I put in. And by talking to my trusted Bloodborne advisors, it seems like I didn't miss any major areas, and I don't think I missed any bosses. I still don't know. I know that there's I know that there's got to be tons of stuff I missed, but as far as like I guess like any major secrets or any major areas, I don't think so. So okay, final point on that is just I feel justified in, for 2 years, being in full on like blackout spoiler mode. Like, don't talk to me about Bloodborne. Don't send me Bloodborne stuff. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see anything. I I very much wanted to go watch anybody play it. I wanted to, like, when I didn't have a PlayStation or whatever, and when I was balls deep into the Souls games, I was like, I want to check out this Bloodborne game. One of my best friends was posting like Instagram screenshots, and I was like, that looks amazing. And I didn't, though. I held out. I'm very glad I did, and I will play like this from now on. I will play completely blind, and I will play without looking anything up, because it is a different experience. It is a completely different experience, and it did give me anxiety at times. It is tougher. You have to actually have, like, I had to have willpower to not look things up sometimes. But it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding to pay attention to things, and like a quick example. My friend actually accused me. This is funny now, because there was a mild argument between me and one of my best friends in the world, because he kind of said, yeah, you looked that up, like you in Canehurst, when I got to the end of Canehurst, I talked to the Vile Blood lady, and then I was immediately like, I want to go talk to Alfred now, and he was like, there's no way you knew that, you had to look that up. And so I kind of got butthurt about it, and I sent him like the previous videos, the previous chapters where I had talked to Alfred, and where I'd like said, okay, Canehurst, Vile Blood, something, about Alfred, and I actually wrote it in my notes. I have this giant, like, 2-page thing of notes that I've taken since I started this game. And so for me, when I was in Canehurst and when I got to the Vile Blood Lady, oh, and I'd also found his like coat earlier on, like all of it made perfect sense to me because like way earlier on in the game, you know, I'd started this side quest in my head. I was thinking of it as like Alfred had sent me on the side quest when I got there. It all made sense, and that's rewarding. But I will say, flip side of the coin, I expected that. I expected to go back and talk to him and there to be some kind of event with him, because I felt like he had sent me on that quest. I'd found the thing he told me, and so when he showed up, even though that was awesome when he, you know, like had grinded her up with his giant Cadillac wheel, that was awesome, but I expected something to happen. Now I will say that one of my favorite moments in the game came from a complete surprise, which was the Eileen event, when I happened upon that. And actually one of my friends that I've been talking to that have kind of been giving me feedback said that I missed Eileen at some point between the first time I saw her and that time when I ran into Henrik and she helped me fight him, and that she tells me to meet her there or whatever. So in that instance, me missing something actually made that encounter more memorable, because I had no idea what was going to happen. I went to that area like chasing something else. I can't remember if I was looking for the little girl that was in the window or what it was, but that like surprise encounter was extremely memorable, and I still love it, and started a NPC relationship between me and Eileen. She's my main girl. I like her a lot. So okay, enough of all that. Yeah, I'm playing blind from now on, for sure. Starting with Demon Souls next. I don't know anything about that game. Never played it, never watched anything on it, and I'll be playing it 100% blind. It'll be the next game I play once I wrap this up and do everything I want to do in this, including the DLC and Chalice dungeons. So, and then I'm going to do Elden Ring the same way. I'll go in and I'll be absolutely 100% committed to not looking anything up on my first playthrough. Okay, that's enough of all that. Now, this game. Actual thoughts on this game. I'm sure nothing that I'm saying or about to say is going to be different than what everybody else says. So, you know, take it for what you will. But here's my favorite areas. My favorite areas in the game were pretty much all the, well, I would say the ones that had a little more of the, like, subdued, creepy, atmospheric horror vibes. At least to my, like, in my perspective, they did. But this area here, just like chronologically, this area here, I would say is the best starting area in any of the FromSoft games, in my opinion. Like I'm happy to say that now, even just going through it once. I keep thinking I probably don't need to just keep talking, but actually I'm going to, because even if it's just for me, it'll be interesting to come back months, years later after I've played the game more and like my opinions evolve and my favorite things evolve. It'll be fun to listen back to this. So I'm just going to let myself keep going. This area was awesome for like an intro area or a beginning area. And one thing that this area had that I don't remember any other area having as much was the roaming enemies, and roaming enemies that covered a large territory. It wasn't like pacing back and forth like this guy is right here. When you get on into this level, that long that long alleyway with the beast that's burning and everything, all those enemies, the way they like come together and then they split up and spread out, and depending on when you go through, they're like at different places. I know that's a small thing, and it's probably one of those things that after you play the game a time or two, like, you get jaded and you just run through there and you don't care about it. But from a first playthrough perspective, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was very, very cool. Just made the world feel more alive or more unpredictable, and I don't think any other game really has that. And I don't remember any other level having it as much as this one did. But this one had all of the, it just had all the FromSoft magic. It had the wraparounds back to where you were. The shortcuts were all done really well. I love the way that the house in the middle kind of connects out to the rest of the level. It was very confusing at first and seemed hard to navigate, but once I started kind of connecting the dots, it was very satisfying to traverse it. And it's just beautiful. I mean, I'm a big fan of all the design on the buildings and everything, and all the whole entire game. But yeah, I think Central Yarnum is amazing. Then right after this, Cathedral Ward, I'm gonna wrap in, so Cathedral Ward and Upper Cathedral Ward. I'm gonna put those together, even though that's a pretty giant area. That was my favorite area in the game, and I'm gonna say I won't be surprised. I want to say now that I think it's probably my favorite areas in any of the games. I don't know. I'll have to think about that more, and I'll probably have to play more. But I loved Cathedral Ward, every bit of it. Actually, for me, the peak of the game, as far as just like the part that really hooked me, was from the time that I bought the key to open the gate to get into Cathedral Ward. Starting there, exploring all of the Cathedral Ward, like the lower area, going out to the right side and fighting those two guys between like the Grand Cathedral and where you eventually go into Yahargul, where I guess that's Amygdala that's like in that room, or at least that great one. Fighting those two guys, all those foggy streets over on the left side of the Cathedral Ward area, those long foggy streets that have like that, I don't know, there's that dark, ominous, like Jack the Ripper vibe. Just everything leading up to Vicar Amelia's boss room, those intimidating giant enemies, and just everything about that area I loved. I loved exploring it. I think I'm an area guy anyway, and an exploration guy. Like the boss fights, obviously I want them to be good, but really for me it's on a first playthrough, it's all about the exploration. The boss is actually like, I don't even want to get to a boss, because that means when I'm going through like a fog door, or where if I'm entering into a boss room, I know that I've covered everything that I can cover in the level, and really that's what I want to be doing. I want to be sleuthing around, looking behind everything, covering every inch of a level, and feeling like I'm like uncovering clues and hints and gathering loot. Like that's what it's about. And of course, like the enemies in the levels, and trying to spot them and trying to, not get got by traps, and figure out ways to navigate the best and whatever. Like that's one of those things on the first playthrough that you never get it again. And so I love just taking my time and going through the areas. Anyway, Cathedral Ward, man, I loved it. And then Upper was just as good. I loved everything about the Upper Cathedral Ward. The wolf crashing in through the window, and then that chaotic, like five or six of the beasts in that dark room. everything leading up to the weird like sucker slug things praying to what I never figured out what was going on there. And then the Celestial Emissary, I think it was called. It was just so weird and unexpected. And then I guess there was actually a pretty big gap of time, but I could have just broken that window, and then went down and fought a Bridus or a Bredus or whatever. So like, yeah, dude, that whole Cathedral Ward and Upper Cathedral Ward, that's that gets my vote for my favorite area in the game, and maybe my favorite level design and enemy and atmosphere ever in any game. I also really liked Bergenworth, even though there wasn't like a lot to that area. I liked the atmosphere. I liked that one enemy a lot. I don't know why that one enemy that was like a long kind of glowworm thing with the little like light at the end of its head. It looked like it was trying to lure you to look at that or whatever. That enemy kind of, I don't know, I was fixated on that after I saw it, and I wanted to know more about it. And then Bergenworth had that kind of thing where I think everything was leading me. I felt like I was being led there for a long time. That was kind of like it seemed like I don't know, like an important destination. So there was a lot of anticipation when I got there. And then when you like finally drop off that platform or whatever, and then it goes to just that complete white world, like that was the whole thing was a trip. Yahargul was amazing. I did like 2 complete passes through there, and I'm glad I did, because the first time was it was so chaotic, and like the enemies were really hard before I figured out like exactly the mechanic with the necromancer lady and everything. But it was beautiful, and the sky there, I loved the sky in Yahargul. And then, well, I'm talking about the second trip. The first trip to Yahargul was that was extremely memorable too, and there was several points in this game where I was like filled with anxiety and dread in the absolute best way, and getting kung fu kicked by that dude with the bag in the Forbidden Forest, and then waking up in Yahargul. I assume everybody kind of has that same experience, or most people. I assume that's kind of designed to do that. I think there was a few of those bad guys around in different places, and I think they do a lot of damage. So clearly that's like something that's maybe, I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to happen, but it's kind of designed to happen. But in the moment, I had no clue what was going on, and my mind was blown, and I loved every minute of it. It was excellent. Canehurst, I want to go through Canehurst on another playthrough, like earlier, but the detail and the intricacy of the levels and especially like the interiors, I loved. I thought it was awesome in Canehurst. But yeah, I want to go through that level again, like at a lower level. And then I think last one would be like the last one as far as like my favorites would be Nightmare at Mensis. I loved all of Nightmare at Mensis. It had everything. It was kind of a culmination of everything this game is. I think it had like the weird sci-fi stuff. It had the little people walking around that didn't aggro. All those little things, like, they just added so much. They added so much atmosphere to the game, and I don't know. It was I just decided I guess I can actually run right up here and go to guess I can run up here and go to the dream, right? Okay, so I think that's it for areas. Like I said, I don't have anything. I knew I wasn't gonna have anything real brilliant to say, but I still want to kind of get my thoughts out. My favorite enemies, just like base enemies in the game, I would say, I don't know, I would have to think about it a little more, but I really liked those. I was calling them mushroom heads. You guys told me they were winter lanterns, I believe. I loved those. No, I mean, I hated them, but I loved the design, and they intimidated the hell out of me. So they are definitely they're up there as far as just they're gonna be memorable. I actually liked the insect things that were kind of similar to those to the winter lanterns. They're kind of like bee people. I don't know, like insect hybrids that were. I only remember them being at Bergenworth, but those things were cool. I just really liked the design on those. Let's see. I kind of just like those like basic. I guess like they're kind of like executioners. Like the one in Central Yarnum that killed me like probably 7 or 8 times in a row at the beginning of the game. Those are really fun because they're really fun to parry. They have a pretty large parry window, I think. So once you adapt to the parry timing in this game, they were really fun to fight. Just waiting for that right time to parry them, and it's always fun parrying things that are quite a lot bigger than you. And then all the hunters, all the humanoid like NPC hunters were amazing. I'll also say, this is another one I'll have to come back to, but I felt like, I don't know, Dark Souls 3, the NPC invader type, the phantoms or whatever, the AI on them's pretty good. There's a few of those that are very tough. These were just more fun though. The humanoid NPC hunters, like those, I'm calling them hunters. I don't know if they're all hunters technically, but like the two guys that were between the Grand Cathedral and the place where you go to Yargul or get picked up by Amygdala, and then the 3 guys in Yahargul, the shirtless guy with the claws, and then those 2 similar dudes. The guy in Old Yarnum, even though I got lucky and he jumped off the roof, I feel like that was going to be an extremely difficult fight. There was another guy in Old Yarnum that was just kind of like on the way to the dude with the machine gun. That was a fun fight. The guy in the Grand Cathedral on Eileen's quest line was insane, and I can't wait to fight him again. With like the next time I go through the game, I'm gonna wait a little longer. I think that was the one thing that I think if I would have been just slightly like had a like one more leveled up weapon, like one higher leveled weapon, or like just slightly more health or whatever, I think that would have been really, really fun. That was the most challenging thing in the entire game. the two things that I struggled with most in the whole game was dropping to the door in the church workshop and that hunter NPC that almost killed Eileen, or I guess killed her. I'll be interested to look up and see and learn if there's anything else you can do with Eileen, or if that's just the end of it. I never found her again. I looked for her many times, mostly off camera, but I never did find her. And then bosses bosses. So I would say the bosses in this game, all around, I give a thumbs up and a win to for uniqueness. The bosses were very unique. They kept they were varied and they were interesting. All of them. The only ones that I could even almost criticize as saying was kind of like, yeah, this is kind of the same as, whatever, was the beast types. But even then, they were very unique in both their movesets and everything, meaning the cleric beast, Amelia, I guess the blood-starved beast. You might could put Parl, Dark Beast Parl into there, but I don't know. Really just the cleric beast and Amelia, and I fought those fairly close together. I fought cleric beast and then Gascoigne and then Amelia, and I guess just more on appearance than anything, they kind of felt similar. But okay, so regardless, you would have to nitpick to criticize the uniqueness of the bosses. Everything else, and really even those, were very memorable in the fact that they were interesting and unique to that one particular boss, and they each one fit the area that it was in very well, I thought. So thematically, visually, boss design wise, I didn't think there was any weak points at all. Now I will say, if I gotta be honest, as far as combat and as far as boss AI, I was very surprised in this game at how lenient bosses were in letting you heal. And maybe that's just a product of how fast this game is, but I guess I'm used to, so I mean, this progressed, it seems like, through the games, but Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro, both, the bosses AI is clearly waiting on you to heal, and there are certain interrupts that almost every boss in both of those games have, that as you go to heal, if you do it when you're in a certain proximity to them, they're going to do this 1-2, there's a certain pool of moves that the AI pulls from, depending on how far you are away, to attempt you interrupting the heal. The hills in this game are so fast, and I guess maybe the combat is so fast that just wouldn't be a mechanic that would work. But in comparison to those games, it felt really easy to back away, heal, go back in. Fight until I'm low on health, back away, heal, go back in. So, I'm also coming at this with the context of literally 1,000 hours in the Souls games, just the 3 Souls games combined. I somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 hours, and then one very thorough, probably 60-hour playthrough of Sekiro. So I guess I'm a little biased, or maybe just my experience with FromSoft style games. It's depending on what order you play the games, you're gonna have a different opinion on all of it, but definitely on the combat and difficulty. I don't think I could speak on difficulty because I'll never know how it is to play this game as your first FromSoft game. I can't know that, and I do know that it would have been a very, very different experience than, like I said, coming off of many hundreds and maybe even 1,000+ hours of the Souls games. So, you have to remember that. I have to keep that in context. But I did feel like I never felt like I was in too much danger. I always felt like as long as I had health vials, that I could back off anytime I wanted to, and basically the only enemies that kind of that even threw that off a little bit was mostly the humanoid hunters that would like shoot guns. They seemed very aggressive. I'm talking like, just in the game. Most especially the one in the Grand Cathedral in Eileen's quest line. They were so aggressive and would shoot their gun so much that every once in a while they would accidentally interrupt a hill or something. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a difficulty overall opinion on this game versus the other games. I think that's a thing I'll have to play it more, and I don't even think it really matters. I don't think it matters, but for uniqueness and for just having interesting, memorable boss fights, I thought it was awesome. I would say, actually, just straight up combat-wise, though, like a fun fight, Gascoigne may be up there, maybe my tops. I thought Gascoigne was awesome. I loved the 3 unique phases. I want to fight him again. I want to fight him more. I think best I can remember, the first phase was like humanoid, one-handed, and you could parry him pretty easy. Second phase, humanoid and two-handed weapon, and you couldn't parry it, or it was very hard to parry it, and he was much more aggressive. And then the third phase was the beast. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was as well done as a 3-phase boss fight has ever been. And I'm ready to fight him again. Who else? There was a couple fights that were, you could almost call gimmicks, but that were extremely interesting and chaotic and fun. They were just fun, and that was like, I thought Rom was really fun. I enjoyed darting in and out of the small spiders and trying to get to him and dodging his. Eventually he starts doing some kind of spell, I think, that like came up from the ground. I thought that was really fun. There's a couple like that. I mean, Celestial Emissary was similar, and just like there's just so much going on. You have one target and you have a lot of other stuff going on. Again, you could kind of call those, I guess, gimmick fights, but like they were well done. And again, unique and interesting. I loved the One Reborn. That may have been, for me, just visually, conceptually, the most epic fight. And I think it had a little bit to do with coming off of the journey through Yahar'gul and loving that area so much, and that area being so chaotic and crazy. Oh, those giant like enemies coming out of a suitcase or something, and just everything about that area. Oh, finding those weird teleporters that they were never in any other part of the game. Like that whole area was very strange and cool and chaotic, and then kind of, I guess, the end cap of that was this. I mean, every enemy in this game was like hideously grotesque in all the best ways, but the One Reborn was maybe the most. And of course had the move where he like rains bodies down. Just the whole thing, though. Anytime that I actually took a second to look at what was on screen, I was impressed by the full on like body horror that was in front of me. It was kind of overwhelming. But then you're distracted from how weird and grotesque he is by the fact that these ladies are up above hitting him with beams and stuff. I was so confused and overwhelmed by everything the first 2 or 3 times I went into that boss room. But that made it memorable, and figuring it out was really fun. And then once I had it figured out, that made it very satisfying to feel like I had this like step-by-step process of, you know, leading up to like, okay, I got this now. So again, not the best combat, not the most fun fight, not the most like, as far as just like the moment to moment combat, it wasn't anything, I guess, super special, but it was super interesting, and it was just memorable. It was fun. There's a few others that I think I'll need a couple more times to probably appreciate them fully, but yeah, that's I think that's good. I think that gets out anything that I can think of right offhand that was like standout stuff for me personally. But I think it's more of the meta that, like, going into the details of any one thing, and like I said, man, these games are just, they're hard to it's hard to put your finger on what makes these FromSoft games as magical as they are. It is for me anyway. It's hard for me to describe to someone who's never played one what makes them different, because when you start talking about it, it kind of sounds like a lot of other games, but they're so not. They're so not. There's so much more. There's this, like, I don't know, there's something in the game design. There's like a creative, I don't know, it's like, this is the same problem I always have. There's something about these games that is basically indescribable, at least with my limited knowledge and vocabulary. And this game had it in spades. This game had, it's just like, there's, in DS1 I call it charm. That game has a charm to it, or a magical charm, where you just like, everything about it, all the little mechanics, all the little, just the differences in the interconnectedness of not just the level design and everything. Like, that's apparent if you play through it, but it's like the interconnectedness of the world, of the game itself, the design itself, of how it just kind of, over time, learning more and more and more about it, I don't know, it reveals this thing that's more than a game. Like, they transcend video games to me. For me, it's a different experience than I've ever had with any other game. And it's not even close. Like, and this game 100% has that. So, and that's why I said at the beginning of this whole ramble that I have a hard time thinking that this will not be, in a short time from now, I will not say Bloodborne is my favorite game, or at least Bloodborne and Dark Souls are my favorite games of all time. Which, that's a big deal for me. Video games are a big deal for me. I love video games. They're my favorite thing. They're my favorite entertainment. They're my favorite media by far. I would I'd throw away everything else if I had to, as far as entertainment goes, as long as I could keep video games. So saying this is my favorite to me is like, that's a big deal. So I loved every minute of it. I'm very appreciative of anyone who watched any of it, and definitely the ones of you that have said, gave me comments and give me pieces of lore, and giant thank you to two of my best friends in the world who, one, got me into these games in the first place, and then two, have been super cool and supportive or whatever of me making these videos, and have at least enjoyed them, at least to some degree, or at least maybe you're lying to me about how much they enjoy them, but it's made it even better to have some friends along the way. So very thankful I finally got to play it. Thankful that I had the means to buy the equipment to record it and to put it out there, and thankful for any of you guys, like I said, that took any time to stop by and go on the journey with me. It made it even more memorable and even more fun to every time I played, to sit down, make sure I was alone, make sure I had the time to do it, and sit down and talk through my thought processes and stuff. So again, I'm going to be doing it for more games. I'll do it for Demon Souls at some point, but next up though, this is not, I just remembered, I've been going on this whole thing talking about this game. I haven't even played the DLC. I still have the DLC to go. I know nothing about it other than the 10 minutes or whatever it is that I ran around in it, not even knowing it was the DLC, like sometime about a third of the way through the game. So yeah, so this is not the end. And about a week from now, I will jump back in this thing, absolutely stoked to get into that DLC on New Game Plus. So again, thank you to anybody that stuck this out, and I will see you guys next time.